right, everybody. I just got back from seeing Godzilla Minus One, and man, do I have some thoughts on it. I don't want to give too much away, so while I'm going through this review, I will try to keep that in mind because, like I said, I don't want to give too much away, and I don't want to take away from anybody's movie experience because this one is a pretty solid film, from the story to the graphics. It's pretty solid. So with that being said, let's get into it, and I hope I don't give too much away. Here we go. All right, everybody, Godzilla Minus One. Like I said, it's a pretty solid movie from the get-go, but I want to talk about the minus one in the title because I don't know where it came from. I didn't see the trailer. Actually, I saw a bit of the trailer, like maybe 2 or 3 seconds in, and I was like, nope, I want to see this movie in theaters. Don't want any spoilers. So I don't know where this minus one came from, and I don't know if there's any kind of like confirmation on where this minus one came from. But for me, I want to give my perspective on where it could have came from. So I think that it came from where the movie starts, right? A minus one, literally in the negative. We see our protagonist, Shikishima, like he's a kamikaze pilot that decides to take a detour. He's scared, so already he's putting himself into this negative. When he lands on Odo Island, there's this like negative connotation that is put onto him because of his decision to kind of to make a detour and not fulfill his I guess call it his destiny, because in Japan it's very like honorable and all that stuff, right? So that really kind of permeates throughout the story. And so like I think the minus one comes from that, because he starts in the negative and then we see him kind of have this redemption at the end, which brings him into the positive. So to me, I think that's where the minus one comes from. And the minus one is Shikishima, who is our protagonist. He is the minus one. Now, going into the story, I think that if you're a fan of like manga and anime and overall the Japanese cinema, I think you're really gonna love this movie. Obviously it's done in Japanese and there's subtitles. Another reason why you might not like it, because a lot of people don't want to read things, but the reason why I bring this up is because throughout the movie, you do get the Godzilla explosions and destruction and all that stuff, but what this movie does really, really well is what a lot of like animes and manga do really well. It really spells out the character, and you're gonna get laughs, you're gonna get sadness, you're gonna get love, you're gonna get camaraderie. You're gonna see this ragtag group of just kind of fisher boatmen that get kind of tasked with this kind of insurmountable task that seems like it's like undoable, right? Like if the Navy SEALs or if the Navy, Japanese Navy, can't even take down this big Godzilla, how do you expect like a fisher boat to, right? Which, mind you, that was a badass scene. That whole sequence was fucking badass. But that's why I think that like some people might not like this movie. They might go into this movie expecting kind of that Godzilla versus Kong or Godzilla King of the Monsters kind of fighting and stuff like that. You're not gonna get that, but you do get Godzilla himself. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you watch it, you know what I'm talking about. So if you are one of those people that want the glitz and the glamour without any kind of substance to the story, which is kind of what we saw with like King of the Monsters and Godzilla versus Kong, then you're not gonna like it. But if you like substance, if you like character build, if you like rooting for the ragtag group, you're gonna love this movie. This movie was pretty solid, and I really want to make this distinction, or I really want to point this out. I really, really hope that people go into this movie without any kind of comparison or any kind of like, judgment because, oh well, Godzilla doesn't do this, he did this in King of the Monsters, or oh, Godzilla is not that tall, or Godzilla, cut that out because these are not the same franchises, like, at all. And if you do that, like I say all the time, you're really gonna poo-poo your movie experience. You really got to let these two franchises, should I say, kind of stand on their own. And at some point, I would suspect that they're going to be in the same cinema around the same time, right? I have a feeling, because, and I, again, don't want to give too much away, but how this one ends, this -1 ends, I feel like there's going to be a sequel. And I know we're getting this new kind of like Kong X Godzilla kind of movie. I don't know. And I really feel like they're really trying to branch that out, because we're also getting Monarch, the series, I think it is, on Apple TV. So that is its own thing, and just keep -1 in its own thing. They're totally different, totally different stories told in a different way, in a different tone. And that leads me to my next point, the tone. Cinematography was amazing. The visuals were amazing. Yes, they did suffer at some points, but overall they were fucking amazing. And the audio design, the audio set design, was pretty good. There's a moment in the movie where I kind of harken back to Jaws, right? The theme of Jaws. Dum, dum, how menacing that is, right? Well, there's a scene where Godzilla is chasing this boat, and it's kind of like a humming sound, but it's kind of ominous. It's kind of dangerous. It's kind of like, holy shit, this big fucking thing is coming after me. And it's nothing epic, but that humming, and I think it's almost like only 2 notes, and that humming is just fucking amazing. I was like, holy fuck. And what follows from that is just even more epic, right? And again, I'm gonna try to get through this without giving too much away, but that part was just awesome, just from that one humming noise. And I hope you go see this movie and kind of appreciate those little nuances. But yes, again, the visuals, sound, set design was amazing. And I want to point this out. I think that like what this movie does really, really well is that it really takes you back into the days of wonderment. And what do I mean by that, right? I'm pretty positive I saw miniatures being used in this movie, like a miniature town, but mixed with, modern day technology that is, the CG of Godzilla and some of the train stuff and all that stuff. It was awesome. It looks cool. And the whole tone of it is set in like this 50s old school, Godzilla type of movie, but made in modern times. I don't know if that makes sense, but when you see the movie and you see the tone mixed with the colors, the shadings and all that, it really comes together very nicely. And it's kind of awesome, because if you remember back in the day, when you saw like Power Rangers, right? It's kind of like that kaiju thing towards the ends of the show when they would fight. We didn't look at these things and be like, damn, these graphics fucking suck, right? No, we were kind of immersed by the awesomeness, the bigness of it, and that's what this movie does. So while in certain aspects the graphics in terms of the CG does suffer some, but in a lot of the moments inside of this movie, it sure in the hell makes up for those suffering moments, and couple that with a good story. That's what you get with this movie. And so for me, it's a solid 8.5 out of 10, maybe even a 9 out of a 10. I'm just a little bit harder in reviews, but that's because, I kind of go into these things, like I said, without expectations, but then I also hold things at a high level, right? And this is a pretty damn solid movie for a standalone. Again, don't go into this franchise thinking like you're gonna see X, Y, and Z that you saw from what was that? The Godzilla King of the Monsters and Godzilla versus Kong. You're not gonna see that. You're gonna see a story led first, a character build up first, mixed with Godzilla epicness. You're not gonna see big bang and all that stuff, which you do, but not to the level that we're used to seeing in that other franchise. So I really hope you guys go and see this with an open mind, because this was a pretty epic movie. I think I'm gonna go see it again this weekend. So yeah, like I said, 8.5, maybe 9 out of 10 for me. Pretty solid. Just kind of, recapping, solid set design, solid cinematography, solid sound design. I really like the use of practical set design when they use like miniatures. I'm pretty positive, like I said, there's scenes in there, and it really does pull at your heartstrings towards the end. You really find yourself cheering for the human aspect. Oh, let me get into that real quick. Sorry, I know I'm dragging this on and long, but the human aspect of this movie versus the human aspect from the other franchise, right? I really, really love what they did here. And I really, really wish that the other franchise did what they did here, which is like a character build up. And so that way you can cheer for the, the human aspect of the movie. Which in the other one you didn't. I really hated Millie Bobby Brown's family storyline. I hated her character. Nothing against her. She's a fine actress. It's just the story that they gave her that I didn't like that, because it was not practical to me. Like, who the hell is gonna let a kid onto a military base? It's a military base, and she gets a way to sneak around it. I mean, it's like, come on, right? Like, oh my god, I'm gonna go save the world. Not like that. All of that was just stupid to me. And this one, they kind of like really, like I said, they really honed in on the character aspect of our protagonist, Shikishima, and they really let that story tell itself to where at the end, again, you're really cheering for him, and like I said, it kind of tugs at the heartstrings towards the end. So I needed to say that, because I like I said, I don't want to try to compare, but in that small comparison, I really wish that our franchise that we got a year or two ago, or since I think it's 2014, did that just like this. I wish that they would have done it this way, like what I just saw in Godzilla -1. So there you have it, guys. 8.5 out of 10, maybe 9 out of 10. You know what, fuck it, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Go see Godzilla -1. It's a hell of a film. You're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna laugh, not cry, but you're gonna laugh. You're gonna get your heartstrings tugged, and overall, it's a great movie. All right, guys, keep spreading that love, and we'll catch you next time. Have a good one. Laters.